The game that started as a humble fan-made project and grew into one of the most influential franchises in gaming history. We'll journey from its roots in a 1998 Half-Life mod through its acquisition by Valve to its transformation into a competitive titan and, controversially, a gambling empire. Grab your op, plant the bomb, and let's dive into the history of Counter-Strike. It all began in 1998 with Half-Life, a groundbreaking first-person shooter developed by Valve Corporation. Half-Life wasn't just a game, it was a platform. Its modding tools, released alongside the game, invited players to create their own worlds. Enter two unlikely heroes, Jess Cliff, a college student from Virginia, and Min Lee, a Canadian programmer and modder with a passion for shooters. Together, they dreamed of a game that combined tactical realism with fast-paced action, a stark contrast to the sci-fi chaos of Half-Life. By early 1999, Cliff and Lee were hard at work. Lee handled the coding and design, crafting maps and mechanics inspired by real-world counterterrorism operations. Cliff focused on textures, sounds, and community outreach. Their vision, you ask? Two teams, terrorists and counter-terrorists, battling over objectives like bomb plants and hostage rescues. On June 19, 1999, the first public beta of Counter-Strike was released. It was rough, buggy, and ran on Half-Life's Gold Star engine, but it was addictive. Word spread fast through forums and LAN parties. Counter-Strike wasn't an instant blockbuster. It was a slow burn fueled by players. The modding scene in the late 90s was a wild west of creativity, and Counter-Strike stood out. Maps like D-Dust and CS Office became legends. Players loved the teamwork, the tension of clutching around, and the thrill of a perfectly timed headshot. By Beta 4 in November 1999, the mod had a cult following. LAN cafes buzzed with shouts of Rush B long before it was a meme. Cliff and Lee weren't full-time developers. They were amateurs, juggling school and jobs, but the community kept them going. Volunteers contributed maps, skins, and bug fixes. By 2000, Counter-Strike had outgrown its mod status. It was a phenomenon, and Valve, the creators of Half-Life, took notice. Valve wasn't blind to the mod success. In early 2000, they reached out to Cliff and Lee with an offer. Join us, and let's make Counter-Strike official. For two young modders, it was a dream come true. Valve hired them, moved them to Seattle, and put resources behind the project. On November 8, 2000, Counter-Strike 1.0 launched as a standalone retail game, priced at $40. It included polished maps, better netcode, and a boxed manual, luxuries the mod never had. The acquisition wasn't just a business move, it was a gamble. Valve saw potential of multiplayer gaming at the time when single-player campaigns dominated. They were right. By 2002, Counter-Strike was the king of PC gaming. Cyber cafes in South Korea, Europe, and North America overflowed with players. Its simple yet deep mechanics, buying weapons, managing economy, and mastering recoil made it a hit. Valve didn't stop there. In 2004, they released Counter-Strike Condition Zero, a single-player spin-off developed with Virtual Environment and Turtle Rock Studios. It added AI bots and missions, but fans struggled. It wasn't the Counter-Strike they loved. The real milestone came with Counter-Strike 1.6 in 2003, launched on Steam, Valve's new digital platform. This version refined the formula, tighter hitboxes, updated maps, and Steam's anti-cheat system. 1.6 became the definitive edition, cementing Counter-Strike as an esports empire. Esports was still a niche then, but tournaments like Cyber Athlete Professional League showcased Counter-Strike's competitive edge. Teams like NIP and SK Gaming became household names. Prize pools grew from hundreds to thousands of dollars. The game's longevity was unreal. Decades later, 1.6 servers still hum with the diehards. In 2004, Valve rebooted the franchise with Counter-Strike The Source, built on the Source engine behind Half-Life 2. It brought better graphics, physics, and ragdoll deaths. Some fans embraced the shiny upgrade. Others clung to 1.6 raw feel. Source split the community, but expanded the audience. It was a sign of things to come. Counter-Strike was no longer just a modder's dream. It was a Valve juggernaut. Behind the scenes, Cliff and Lee's role shifted. Lee left Valve in 2006 to pursue new projects, eventually co-creating Tactical Intervention. Jess stayed, becoming a Valve veteran. Their creation, though, was now bigger than them. The modern era dawned on August 21st, 2012 with Counter-Strike Global Offensive, or CSGO. Developed by Valve and Hidden Path Entertainment, CSGO aimed to unite the fragmented fan base. It launched on Steam for $15, with updated visuals, new maps like Mirage, and cross-platform play. Later, that dropped. Critics called it safe. Players called it home. CSGO kept the core, 5v5, bomb defusal, economy, but added matchmaking and ranks. Then came skins. In 2013, the arms deal upgrade introduced weapons cosmetics. The AK-47 Fire Serpents, Op Dragon lures, earned through drops or cases. Players could trade them on Steam's marketplace. A $2 skin could become $200 overnight. The economy exploded. By 2015, CSGO was a cultural force, with Twitch streams and majors like ESL One drawing millions. Prize pools hit 7 figures. Teams like Astralis and Fnatic became esports royalty. But skins weren't just cosmetics, they were currency. By 2014, third-party sites like CSGO Lounge let players bet skins on matches. A $5 inventory could turn into 50 or 0. Then came skin casinos. Sites like CSGO Wild and CSGO Double offered roulette and coin flips. Miners gambled unchecked. YouTubers like T. Martin and Syndicate promoted them. In 2016, Bloomberg estimated the CSGO gambling market at $7.4 billion annually. It was a wild west, unregulated and chaotic. Valve cracked down in 2016, issuing cease and desist to gambling sites. Some shut down, others moved offshore. The scandal exposed a dark side: addiction, scams, and lawsuits. Yet the skin economy endured. Rare items like the StatTrak M9 Bayonet Crimson Web still fetched thousands. CSGO wasn't just a game anymore, it was a marketplace. In 2023, Valve unveiled Counter-Strike 2, a free-to-play Source 2 overhaul of CSGO. New lighting, smoke grenades that react to gunfire, and a promise of future updates kept it fresh. Skins carried over, preserving the economy. Today, CSGO and CS2 coexist, with millions playing daily. The esports scene thrives. Majors like PGL Copenhagen 2024 draw 1.5 million viewers. Gambling persists too, though tamed by regulation. Let's dive deeper into the current status and career paths of Jess, Cliff, and Min Lee, the co-creators of Counter-Strike. This exploration builds on their fundamental roles in the game's history and traces their journeys post-Valve, including significant life events and professional shifts. Given the lack of strict knowledge cutoff, I'll synthesize and available information up to this date, focusing on their trajectories after leaving the Counter-Strike spotlight. Cliff was the community liaison, texture artist, and voice behind Counter-Strike's iconic radio commands like "The bomb has been planted." He was born on June 27, 1981 in Virginia. He was a college student at Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University when he teamed up with Lee in 1999. His role expanded beyond the original mod, contributing as a game designer, level designer, and sound engineer across Valve's portfolio, including Counter-Strike Source, Left 4 Dead, Team Fortress 2, and Portal 2. He even designed a remix of the Assault map for Source, showcasing his knack for blending nostalgia with innovation. Cliff stayed on and worked for Valve with CSGO till his legal troubles in 2018 and ended up being fired from Valve and left the internet and community. There's no other information on what he is doing today. Min Lee was born June 27, 1977 in Vietnam, immigrated to Canada as a refugee in 1979. He was the programming and design mastermind behind Counter-Strike. Lee started modding with Quake in 1996, creating Navy SEALs before meeting Cliff via the Action Quake 2 community. Their collaboration birthed Counter-Strike in 1999, and Valve hired him in 2000, where he worked remotely before moving to Seattle. At Valve, Lee shaped Counter-Strike through version 1.0, but stepped back from major updates post-2000, focusing on R&D for a potential successor. Frustrated by Valve's shift to Team Fortress 2 and lack of interest in evolving Counter-Strike, he left in 2006. His next venture? Lee had an interesting career. He ended up leaving Valve in 2006 and moved to South Korea to work for Fix Korea and worked on a game called Tactical Intervention. It was a similar game to Counter-Strike, but it never gained popularity. Then, in 2013, he worked for Face Punch and helped make a game called Rust that is very popular to this day. In 2018, he left to work for Pearl Abyss, the makers of Black Desert Online, to start a new project. Today, Lee remains active in game development, though he avoids the limelight. His LinkedIn confirms his ongoing role at Pearl Abyss, where he's likely shaping a new title, possibly an MMO or shooter. Given the studio's focus, living in South Korea, he's embraced a quieter existence, contrasting with Counter-Strike's global roar. His career reflects a modder's ethos: independent, experimental, and resilient, even if Tactical Intervention didn't soar. What started as Cliff and Lee's mod became a billion-dollar empire. Valve's acquisition turned a hobby into history. From land cafes to Vegas-style betting, Counter-Strike shaped gaming culture. It's a tale of innovation, community, and controversy, a shooter that never stopped firing. From a Half-Life mod in 1999 to a gambling giant in 2025, it's a story of two modders, a visionary company, and millions of players. What is your favorite Counter-Strike memory? Let us know in the comments below. Until then, good luck, have fun, see you on the next one.